There comes a season in your life when you must learn the value of silence, not because you don't have words, not because you don't have opinions, but because your energy, your growth, your destiny is too precious to be wasted on noise. Sometimes the greatest strength is not found in what you say, but in what you refuse to answer. You don't have to defend yourself to everybody. You don't have to explain your journey to everybody. You don't have to justify your vision to people who were never given the blueprint in the first place. Focus on yourself. Focus on your assignment. Focus on your healing. Focus on the quiet work that nobody sees but God records. Because while they're talking, you're building. While they're laughing, you're growing. While they're doubting, you're preparing. Stay silent, because silence is strategy. Silence is discipline. Silence is power. The loudest person in the room is not always the strongest. The one who keeps working, who keeps sewing, who keeps moving forward when nobody claps, that is the one who wins in the end. You don't owe an announcement to people who only want entertainment. You don't owe explanations to people who are sent to distract you. Sometimes your silence will irritate them more than any argument ever could. Because silence says, I'm too busy with my future to be tangled in your foolishness. When you focus on yourself, you give yourself permission to grow, to rise, to elevate beyond limits. Don't let gossip slow you down. Don't let comparisons trap you. Don't let jealousy pull you off your course. Stay quiet, keep walking, keep building. Your fruit will speak louder than your voice. Your results will shut every mouth. Your success will silence every critic. And when it's time, the same people who overlooked you will have no choice but to recognize what God did in your silence. So focus. Focus when they doubt you. Focus when they don't believe in you. Focus when you're tired. Focus when you're lonely. Focus when the storm is raging. And stay silent, because silence is not weakness. It's wisdom. There are moments in life when you discover that the most powerful move you can make is to step back from the noise and turn inward. It is easy to get caught up in trying to prove yourself to others, trying to explain your decisions, trying to justify why you are walking the path you are walking. But there comes a season when you realize that explanations drain you, arguments distract you, and defending yourself delays you. That is when you understand the value of focusing on yourself and staying silent. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the ability to recognize that not every battle requires your voice, not every critic deserves your answer, and not every distraction is worth your time. When you stay silent, you preserve your energy for what really matters, and when you focus on yourself, you give yourself permission to grow beyond the limits people set for you. People will always have something to say. They will question your motives, misunderstand your actions, and misinterpret your silence. But their opinions are not your responsibility. If you constantly bend to explain yourself, you will spend your life performing for an audience that was never meant to understand your assignment. The truth is, some people are not meant to know your next move. Some people are not meant to be in the private chambers of your destiny. Silence keeps them out. Silence protects what is sacred while you work behind the scenes. Focus on yourself, because that focus is what transforms potential into power. That focus is what takes broken pieces and shapes them into something valuable. That focus is what separates those who talk about greatness from those who actually achieve it. When you are focused, you learn to invest in yourself. You stop waiting for others to validate you, and you learn to validate yourself. You stop needing applause, and you start finding peace in progress. Growth is often a quiet process. A seed does not scream when it breaks through the soil, yet it is alive, powerful, unstoppable. The same is true for you. Your silence is not inactivity, it is incubation. You are being strengthened in the shadows so that when the time comes, your fruit will reveal what your words never had to say. Critics will notice when they see the results of your discipline. Doubters will realize when they witness the evidence of your consistency. Those who ignored you will be forced to recognize what was happening in your silence. Focus is also about discipline. It means saying no to distractions, shutting out voices that feed doubt, and resisting the urge to clap back when negativity comes your way. Discipline in silence means you are not easily provoked. You are not swayed by opinions, and you are not desperate to prove yourself. You trust the process. You trust the timing. You trust that your work will speak when it is ready. In the end, silence will prove to be louder than words, and focus will prove to be stronger than noise. Life has a way of teaching you that not everyone is meant to walk with you. Not everyone is qualified to understand your vision, and not everyone is capable of carrying the weight of your destiny. There are times when you must withdraw your energy from the opinions of others and redirect it back into yourself. When you begin to focus on yourself, you step into a place of responsibility where you stop blaming outside forces for what is missing in your life and start building from within. The power to change, to elevate, to become everything you were created to be is already in you, but it demands focus. Focus means narrowing your attention to what matters and refusing to waste time on distractions disguised as opportunities. It means silencing the noise around you so you can hear the whispers of clarity within you. Staying silent is more than holding your tongue. It is mastering the art of restraint. The moment you choose silence, you also choose strength, because silence requires control. Anyone can react, anyone can shout, anyone can lash out when misunderstood, but it takes discipline to remain calm when your name is being tossed around. It takes wisdom to hold your peace when lies are spoken. It takes courage to trust that your future is louder than your present struggle. The silence you maintain is not about weakness, it is about positioning. You are positioning yourself to rise above the chatter, to elevate above the small battles, to focus on victories that matter. When you focus on yourself, you learn to recognize your own value. You stop seeking constant approval and start honoring your own journey. You begin to see that growth does not need validation to be real. Just because others cannot see it yet does not mean it is not happening. Roots grow deep before branches ever reach high. Your progress may be hidden, but hidden does not mean absent. Silence creates the space for that hidden growth. The less you explain yourself, the more you protect the work being developed inside you. What you nurture in silence will eventually be revealed in strength, in resilience, and in undeniable results. Distractions will come in many forms: gossip, envy, doubt, comparison, and unnecessary conflict. Each one is designed to pull you away from your purpose, but focus acts as a shield. It keeps your eyes on the path ahead and your heart fixed on the vision you are pursuing. Silence becomes your weapon against the pull of negativity. When you do not respond to what was meant to derail you, you strip it of its power. By refusing to give attention to the noise, you keep control of your peace. Peace is priceless, and peace is what allows you to build steadily without interruption. The truth is, not everything requires a response. Not every attack requires a defense. Sometimes the best response is no response at all. The best answer is progress. The best argument is success. Focus on yourself and stay silent, because your silence is shaping the strength you will need for the places you are going. There are seasons when the greatest investment you can ever make is the investment you make in yourself. Too often we pour energy into proving something to others, trying to fit into expectations that were never meant for us, or chasing validation that leaves us empty even when we get it. But when you decide to focus on yourself, you reclaim your power. You begin to recognize that your time, your energy, and your focus are not unlimited. And if you waste them on distractions, you rob yourself of the progress you could be making. To focus on yourself is to understand that your future depends on the seeds you sow today, not on the applause you receive along the way. Silence is the environment where those seeds take root and begin to grow. Silence teaches you to stop broadcasting every step, every dream, every move you are making. Not everyone clapping for you is celebrating you. Some are simply gathering information to use against you. The more you speak prematurely, the the more you expose what is not yet ready to be seen. There is power in being underestimated, in moving quietly, in building where no one can interfere. When you stay silent, you deny access to those who would seek to discourage you. Silence is not just about withholding words, it is about protecting vision. A vision under construction does not need to be shouted from rooftops. It needs to be nurtured in stillness until it is strong enough to stand on its own. Focusing on yourself means confronting your weaknesses with honesty and developing your strengths with discipline. It is about realizing that your competition is not the person beside you, but the person you were yesterday. Growth is not always loud, and progress is not always visible. A tree does not make noise as it gains height, yet every day it is reaching closer to the sky. In the same way, your silence does not mean you are stagnant. It means you are working, you are refining, you are becoming. The ones who are loud with talk often have little to show, but those who commit to quiet labor eventually present results that cannot be denied. Silence allows you to listen, and listening is the foundation of wisdom. When you silence the outside voices, you can finally hear your own. You begin to hear the direction of your spirit, the pull of your calling, the lessons hidden in your experiences. You cannot focus on yourself if you are constantly distracted by the volume of others. But when you discipline yourself to remain quiet, you gain clarity. That clarity becomes the compass guiding you toward your destiny. Every moment you resist the urge to explain, defend, or retaliate, you strengthen your focus. Every time you choose to keep working instead of talking, you gain momentum. The process may feel slow, but the results will be undeniable. The very silence that others mistake for weakness will become the very thing that carries you into strength, into growth, and into destiny. There comes a point in your life when you must decide that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on trying to convince people of who you are or what you are capable of doing. Focusing on yourself is not selfish. It is necessary for survival, for growth, and for destiny. When you make the choice to prioritize yourself, you are making the choice to protect your peace, your progress, and your purpose. Too many people lose themselves in the opinions of others, in the need for constant validation, in the hunger for applause that never lasts. But when you begin to focus inward, you discover that the real work is not in being seen, it is in being built. The foundation of who you are is laid in silence, where there are no distractions, no interruptions, and no unnecessary voices trying to shape what does not belong to them. Staying silent is a discipline that few people master, because silence can feel uncomfortable in a world addicted to noise. Everywhere you look, there is pressure to speak, to post, to explain, to respond, to prove yourself worthy. But silence resists that pressure. Silence says, I do not have to prove anything because my results will speak louder than my words. Silence is the shield that guards your dreams while they are still fragile. It is the fence that keeps out doubt and negativity while you are still in the process of growing. Silence is not absence, it is presence. It is the presence of discipline, the presence of strength, the presence of focus that refuses to be distracted by what does not matter. When you choose to focus on yourself, you begin to see areas of your life that you may have ignored. You start addressing your weaknesses instead of covering them up with excuses. You begin sharpening your strengths instead of wasting time comparing them to someone else's. You find that growth requires solitude, because solitude allows you to face yourself without the mask, without the performance, without the pressure to please anyone else. It is in that quiet space that you discover what you are truly capable of becoming. Growth in silence is slow, but it is steady, and steady growth always produces fruit that lasts. Every time you resist the urge to clap back, you are choosing strength over reaction. Every time you hold your peace when attacked, you are proving that your destiny is too important to be derailed by petty battles. Every time you stay silent when you could argue, You are showing that your focus is on the bigger picture, not on the distraction in front of you. Silence is not the absence of a voice. It is the presence of wisdom. It is wisdom that says, I do not have to fight every battle, because not every battle deserves my energy. It is wisdom that says, I will not respond to noise, because noise cannot stop what I am building. The more you focus on yourself, the more you realize that your journey cannot be explained to people who were never given the vision. They will not understand the sacrifices you make, the discipline you endure, or the storms you face in private. But you do not owe them an explanation. What you owe yourself is focus. What you owe your future is discipline. What you owe your destiny is silence while you prepare, while you build, while you grow stronger in the shadows where no one is watching. There will always be moments in life when the temptation to prove yourself will rise, when the need to answer every critic will press on your heart, when the urge to explain your every move will become almost unbearable. But that is when you must remind yourself of the power of focus and the strength of silence. When you focus on yourself, you begin to recognize that your time is sacred, your energy is precious, and your purpose is too important to be wasted on the chatter of those who were never assigned to your journey. Silence is not about weakness, it is about wisdom. It is about conserving what you would otherwise throw away in unnecessary arguments and placing it into the work that will actually move your life forward. There is a difference between reacting and responding, and silence is often the highest form of response because it says, I value my peace more than your approval. I value my growth more than your opinion. I value my future more than this distraction. Focusing on yourself requires courage because it means detaching from the need for constant applause, separating from the pull of comparison, and resisting the urge to be validated by temporary recognition. It is not easy to walk away from the noise, but it is necessary if you are to reach the next level of who you are called to be. The reason many never reach their true potential is not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they spend too much of themselves on things that never mattered in the first place. When you focus on yourself, you take that power back. You direct your energy toward growth, toward discipline, toward building something that will last longer than any fleeting opinion. Silence plays its role as the protector of your progress. It keeps others from accessing what is not yet ready to be revealed. Not everyone needs to know your vision, because not everyone is equipped to handle it. Some will misunderstand it, some will criticize it, and some will even attempt to sabotage it. But when you choose silence, you safeguard what you are carrying. Just as a seed must remain buried in the soil until it is strong enough to break through, so must your vision remain hidden in silence until it is prepared to withstand the light of exposure. Silence is not inactivity, it is incubation. It is the unseen process that gives strength to what will eventually become visible. There will be times when people speak against you, times when you are misunderstood, times when you are overlooked, and everything in you will want to shout back, to prove them wrong, to demand recognition. But staying silent in those moments is the true test of your maturity. When you learn to keep your peace, you learn to trust that your work will speak when it is time. Your fruit will testify when it is ready. Your results will silence the critics more effectively than any words you could have spoken. The discipline of silence trains you to value patience, to trust timing, and to place your confidence not in the approval of others, but in the certainty of your own progress. The truth is that silence and focus are a partnership. Focus directs your energy, silence protects your energy. Focus builds your future, silence shields your future. Focus teaches you where to go, silence keeps you from being distracted along the way. When you master both, you reach a place where you no longer need to announce what you are doing because the evidence of your growth, the strength of your consistency, and the power of your results will speak louder than you ever could.